Ladies and gentlemen, today, we dive into the world of rare treasures hidden in plain sight. A small coin that could be sitting quietly in someone's old drawer, purse, or coin album. We're talking about the 1937 United Kingdom Threepence coin, without a mint mark. At first glance, it might look like just another old coin, but in reality, it carries a story of royal transitions, historic events, and serious collector demand. The year 1937 was a monumental one for the British monarchy. It marked the coronation of King George VI, following the unexpected abdication of his brother, King Edward VIII. To commemorate this transition, new coinage had to be struck featuring the portrait of the new king. And thus, the 1937 Threepence coin was born, a coin that would quickly become an unexpected treasure in the numismatic world. Now, unlike other coins, the 1937 Threepence coin has a unique characteristic that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary: the presence or absence of a mint mark. The vast majority of these coins were struck at the South African Mint, marked with a small S mint mark. But a very small number were minted in the UK, and these coins bear no mint mark at all. It is this tiny detail that turns a simple coin into a potential jackpot. What makes this no mint mark 1937 Threepence coin so incredibly valuable is its sheer rarity. While millions of the South African mint-marked coins were made, the UK no mint mark variety was struck in extremely limited numbers, so limited, in fact, that their exact mintage figure is still unknown. This mystery only adds to the allure and skyrockets their demand in collector circles. Collectors around the world search endlessly for this particular coin, hoping to add it to their treasure trove. And when one does appear, the buzz is instant. Auction houses take notice. Bidding wars erupt. Private collectors start calling. All this for a small 12-sided brass coin that's barely an inch in diameter. That's the magic of the 1937 no mint mark Threepence. But this coin is not just rare, it represents a moment in history. 1937 was a year of rebuilding and hope for the British people. With King George VI taking the throne during a time of global uncertainty, every symbol of national identity, including coinage, took on a deeper meaning. The Threepence coin became a symbol of a new reign, of strength, and of unity. Now imagine holding such a coin in your hands, knowing it might be one of only a handful left in the world. That's not just a piece of history. That's a legacy. And for those lucky enough to discover one, it could also mean a substantial financial reward. You might be wondering, just how much can a 1937 no mint mark Threepence coin be worth today? Reports from major auctions and collectors show that these coins have fetched as much as $3,000 to $4,000, depending on condition and provenance. Yes, that's right, up to £4,000 for a single coin. In pristine, uncirculated condition, the price can soar even higher if the right buyer comes along. In the numismatic community, this coin is considered a holy grail of brass British coinage. Its design is simple yet elegant, with a crowned portcullis on the reverse, a long-standing emblem of the British Parliament, and the sharp profile of King George VI on the obverse. But it's the absence of this mint mark, and only that elevates it into legend status. If you're watching this and wondering if you might have one in your collection, now's the time to check. Look closely at the 1937 brass Threepence coins in your possession. If you spot one without an S, don't take it lightly. Get it verified, get it graded, because you might just be holding a fortune in your palm. And don't be fooled into thinking these treasures are long gone. Coin dealers, estate sales, flea markets, even inherited coin collections can still hide such treasures. These coins are out there, and someone, maybe even you, could be the next person to uncover one. This is more than a story about money. It's a story about the past reaching into the present, about the power of paying attention to details, about how something as small as a coin can carry the weight of royal history and change the future of its owner. So why is it so valuable? It's valuable because of its scarcity, its historical significance, and its collector demand. Every rare coin has a story, and this one tells a tale of royal change, minting mystery, and numismatic passion. As more people become aware of these rare no mint mark coins, their value only increases. It's not just a collector's item, it's a prize, a symbol, a gold mine hiding in plain sight. And with time, as more are discovered and hoarded by collectors, their availability will drop even further, making them even more valuable. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, if you come across a 1937 Threepence coin with no mint mark, don't hesitate. You may be holding a hidden gem worth thousands. Don't overlook the old. Don't underestimate the small. And never forget, the rarest treasures often come in the most unassuming packages. So keep your eyes open, check your drawers, and talk to your elders. You never know, the next great discovery in the world of coins might just begin in your own home. And when it does, it could change your life. Next up, the 1943 United Kingdom Threepence coin with no mint mark, a modest brass coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but in the eyes of collectors and historians, it is a golden key to the past and possibly a gateway to future fortune. The 1943 Threepence coin was minted during the height of World War II, a time when every resource, every effort, and every decision carried enormous weight. Britain was focused on survival and victory. Yet even in those turbulent years, the Royal Mint continued to produce coins for everyday transactions. Among those coins was the brass 12-sided Threepence, introduced just a few years earlier to replace the older silver variety. Now, what makes the 1943 Threepence coin with no mint mark so special lies in its subtle difference from most others of its kind. The majority of 1943 Threepence coins were minted at the South African Mint, and these bear the small but significant S mint mark. However, a far rarer group were minted directly in the United Kingdom, and these do not feature any mint mark at all. This simple absence instantly makes them more desirable and sets them apart in the eyes of collectors. The coin itself carries a beautiful and bold design. On the reverse, you'll find the iconic thrift plant, a hardy and resilient flower symbolic of strength and endurance, perfectly fitting for the wartime era. The obverse features the unmistakable portrait of King George VI, a symbol of leadership and stability during Britain's darkest hour. But among all this symbolism and design, it's that quiet, missing mint mark that shouts the loudest when it comes to value. These UK minted, no mint mark 1943 coins are far rarer in circulation. That rarity builds curiosity, competition, and demand. Collectors understand that such details mean everything. And when it comes to coin collecting, rarity drives value like nothing else. The number of no mint mark coins still surviving in excellent condition is limited. Many were lost, spent, or melted down. But for those still in existence, they are quietly increasing in worth and potential. Right now, the 1943 no mint mark Threepence has begun to make waves in auctions and private sales. Depending on condition, the value can range from $150 to over $500, and in some exceptional cases, pristine, uncirculated examples with historical provenance have approached $700 to $1,000. That's a substantial amount for a small coin that was once simply pocket change during a world war. But the story doesn't stop there. What's exciting about this coin is not just its current value, but its future potential. As more collectors join the hobby, especially younger generations looking to own a piece of living history, coins like this are expected to become even more sought after. In 10 to 20 years, some experts believe its value could double or even triple, especially if the supply continues to shrink as collectors store them away permanently. This is why the 1943 no mint mark Threepence is more than just a collectible, it's an investment. It holds value not only in gold or brass, but in meaning. It connects us to a time when Britain stood strong in the face of adversity, and when every item carried weight and purpose. Owning this coin is like holding a chapter of wartime Britain in the palm of your hand. Imagine discovering one in your family's old coin jar or tucked away in a relative's attic. What seems like just an old coin could turn out to be a piece worth hundreds, maybe more in the future. And all it takes is the knowledge to spot the difference. Look for the date 1943, check for the absence of an S, and pay attention to the condition. You could be holding something far more valuable than you imagined. The market for rare coins continues to grow. With inflation, global uncertainty, and the rise of tangible investments, rare coins like the 1943 Threepence are seen as safe, rewarding assets. This is not just about collecting, this is about building something meaningful and potentially profitable. So yes, the 1943 no-mint mark Threepence is valuable today, and it holds the promise of becoming even more valuable tomorrow. It's not just a historical artifact, it's a legacy piece. Something you can pass down, trade, or treasure. And as its story spreads, so will its worth. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone just starting to explore the world of rare coins, this is one item to pay close attention to. Its rarity, its history, and its growing value make it a standout in any collection. And who knows? One day it could be the most talked about threepence in British coin history. So, don't ignore that old coin collection. Don't underestimate what may be hidden among those brass circles. The 1943 no-mint mark Threepence is already gaining recognition, and its climb has only just begun. Next up, the 1952 United Kingdom Threepence coin with no mint mark. A coin that has begun to stir excitement among collectors and investors alike. A coin that, despite its humble brass form, could be worth far more than most would ever imagine. The year 1952 was no ordinary time in the history of the United Kingdom. It marked the end of an era and the beginning of a new reign. King George VI passed away in February of that year, and his daughter, Queen Elizabeth II, would soon ascend the throne. But before the face of the nation changed on coinage, a final issue bearing the image of King George VI was struck, and that was the 1952 Threepence. This was the last year his portrait would grace British coins, making it historically significant and deeply symbolic. Produced in relatively modest numbers, the 1952 Threepence was minted using brass and carried the traditional 12-sided design that had become iconic since its introduction in 1937. But what elevates the 1952 coin into a category of its own is the absence of any mint mark, a quiet but powerful feature that signals it was struck in the United Kingdom itself, not at any overseas mint. This subtle absence adds intrigue, rarity, and significant value. The demand for this specific coin, the 1952 no-mint mark Threepence, has been on the rise. Collectors across the UK and internationally have been actively seeking high-grade examples. The interest is fueled not only by its rarity and the closing chapter it represents in the reign of King George VI, but also by the reality that few people preserved this coin at the time. The war had ended just 7 years prior, and coins were still viewed purely as currency, not collectibles. Many were spent, worn down, or lost. Today, the number of well-preserved 1952 Threepence coins without a mint mark is strikingly low. And when demand meets limited supply, value increases significantly. Current market evaluations show that circulated versions can sell for $1,000 to $2,000, depending on condition. However, for those found in uncirculated or near-mint condition, the price can leap to $5,000, $7,000, or even more at specialized auctions. It is not uncommon for collectors to offer substantial sums for the right piece. What makes the 1952 no-mint mark Threepence even more intriguing is that it stands at a crossroads in British royal history. It is the last coinage struck before the image of Queen Elizabeth II would grace UK coins for decades to come. This single coin, then, becomes a symbol of the end of a royal legacy and the quiet dawn of a new one. It carries a reverence, not just in material value, but in historical weight. As more collectors enter the scene, especially those interested in post-war and royal transitional coinage, the 1952 Threepence is becoming more competitive to obtain. It's no longer just seasoned collectors looking for it. Younger generations, investors, and even historians are joining the hunt, making this coin a hot item in private sales and online platforms. And let us not forget the emotional draw. For many in the UK, 1952 represents a moment of memory, of change, of respect, and of royal tradition. Having a coin from that very year, bearing the likeness of a king who helped lead the nation through war and reconstruction, is more than a monetary investment. It's a connection to the past. Its distinctive design features the thrift plant on the reverse, a hardy coastal flower that came to symbolize endurance and growth. That design, paired with King George VI's dignified portrait, gives the coin a balanced beauty that collectors admire. But above all, it's the rarity and timing that make it a standout piece. can the value go even higher in the future? The answer is a resounding yes. As the coin supply naturally diminishes, whether due to damage, misplacement, or permanent collection storage, those that remain in fine condition will only grow in desirability. Experts believe that as royal memorabilia continues to surge in popularity, this coin's value could double or even triple over the coming decades. Think about this. How many times do you get the opportunity to own something that was truly the last of its kind, the last to represent a monarch's era? That's exactly what the 1952 Threepence represents. It is the final word of a royal chapter, forever frozen in brass. The fact that it bears no mint mark only adds to its identity. This was a coin meant for the heart of Britain. It wasn't outsourced, it wasn't mass-produced overseas. It was forged in the UK for the UK, a detail that makes all the difference to a trained eye and a passionate collector. And yes, people are searching for it, actively. Coin forums, auction platforms, and collector groups frequently show threads and listings asking for this exact coin. Some offer generous prices for examples in good condition, and the best specimens are snapped up in moments. The demand is real, the chase is on, and the value is climbing. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to find an old brass Threepence dated 1952 with no mint mark in your drawers, albums, or inherited collections, don't overlook it. Examine it closely, because you might just be holding a small piece of history, a rare royal artifact, and a coin that could command hundreds, maybe even more, in today's competitive market. Thank you for watching, and if stories like these fascinate you, make sure to follow us for more hidden gems from the world of British coinage. The 1952 no mint mark Threepence is not just valuable, it is priceless in spirit, rich in legacy, and full of potential.